Alright, what is up everybody? Mr. McDerp here, and today I'm going to show you a Nightblade PvP setup that I personally have been playing on, and I thoroughly enjoy it. It's kind of right now my only PvP competent player or character. So I figured I'd share it with you guys. There's a lot of common Nightblade builds, but this is just a really easy way to set it up. The gear is not hard to get a hold of, except maybe the monster set, depending on how you set that up. Alright. Actually, there is going to be one piece that's going to be hard to get a hold of. It's this Kina Pilgrim, which, if you have noticed, my character outside of Cyrodiil with food has 20k health. That goes up about 5k in Cyrodiil. Actually, I can show you that real quick. So let's go ahead to Cyrodiil, and I will show you what it looks like when you're in Cyrodiil. Just gonna wait for the loading screen. I'm doing everything as I'm like, yeah. Alright, there we go. So, like I said, this is the front bar. It goes up to 26k, and for some reason it's like 1k lower on the back bar. I'm not really sure why that is, but that just is. So, I got 26k health, if you've noticed. I got 3.3k weapon damage, completely unbuffed. Now, there is a hiccup on my gear. You might not run into the same thing, but that's supposed to be infused. You see that weapon damage enchant? It goes to 320. It will actually send it to 410 if this bow was infused. So, if I buff up real quick, just add 410 to that. Actually, let's go in stealth because that's mostly where you're going to be doing everything. So that's about 4k. Add about 410 to that. Let's be more realistic. 410 to that should give you about 4.2k weapon damage fully buffed, which is actually kind of heavy hitting, especially because we got 1.2k stam recovery and we got 28k max stamina and 26k max health. This is not a bad setup. I don't think so, at least. So we're going to start off with the gear, easiest part of that. So what you're going to need is a Dread King Slayer sword, great sword of the Nirnhoned trait. You're going to have to transmute that. You can't get this sword Nirnhoned, and you get it from Fungal Grotto. So you're going to have to transmute it and upgrade it. Obviously mine's not gold yet, or else that damage spike would be up a little bit higher. I run poisons, of course, on the front bar, and we can't have that enchant suppressed on the back bar, so we don't run poisons on the back bar. That's just the front bar. So, for the head or mask, we run a Valadrith mask of Divines. We run a Marksman Jack. We're going to run 5 Marksmen. And this is optional. You can run 2 Valadrith. Me, personally, I don't see the greatest use in it. So I ran 1 Kina and 1 Valadrith. That gives you a good 300 weapon damage spike. The Marksman gives you recovery, damage, reduces the cost of your stamina abilities by 5%, and increases the damage of your bow abilities against players by 8%. It's actually not a bad setup for PvP. And the rest all the way down is Marksman. The jewelry, we run Dread King. So, and you want to try and get gold glyphs on all of them. You get the max amount of damage. Obviously, I haven't been grinding up for this character. I've been setting up another character. So this hasn't seen the greatest amount of attention. So, you run 4 Dread King overall. Now let's go. I'm going to just kind of brief that one more time just so you know what you're looking for. Alright, you want a Dread King Greatsword. You want to transmute it Nirnhoned. Dread King Bow. Weapon damage enchant infused. You want Valadrith Mask, Divines. Marksman Jack, Divines. Kina Pildron. You can get it in Impen or Divines. I just didn't feel like transmuting that, so I have it in Impen. It's not bad. And Marksman, Belt, Bracers, Guards, and Boots. They're all Divines. And you get the Dread King Jewelry. Preferably all purple. I got one blue. And you try and get that max damage enchant on all of them. Now let's talk skillies. So for your main DPS is going to be surprise attack. Normally, if I see an opening, I'll charge a fully heavy attack, immediately follow it up with surprise attack. If somebody wants to sit there and perma block, you obviously can use that. Somebody's going to go for an uppercut like a Stand Warden. You want to try and fight around him. Cloak out when you know you got no other options. Okay, so front bar or main DPS is going to be surprise attack. Your one and probably your only CC is going to be Mass Hysteria. You're going to run Executioner because it fucking hits. You're going to run Ambush for your gap closer. And obviously Rally as your buff up and your main heal. Or your burst heal. Back bar. You're going to run Poison Injection. The way I recommend doing this, if you're going to gank, if you know somebody's coming by on a horse, you pop up. You charge a heavy attack. And immediately follow it up with a Poison Inject. I can't do it because I don't have anything to attack. So, there's that. So you hit them with a Poison Inject. We're going to run Shuffle. Now, there's a couple benefits to Shuffle. It doesn't just give you major evasion, increasing your dodge chance by 15%. When you proc it, it also removes any snares. So, let's say you're just kind of trying to get away from somebody at this speed. You proc Shuffle and you'll remove any snares that may be hindering you. So, Shuffle's kind of useful. What else does it do? Each piece of medium armor worn removes and grants immunity to snares and immobilizations for 0.5 seconds. So let's just say that a DK roots you with Burning Talons. You hit this and it's gone. That's actually pretty nice. Alright, next we got Relentless Focus. Build up a deadly momentum to gain minor berserk and minor endurance, increasing your damage done by 8%, and stamina recovery by 10%. I didn't even know about the stamina recovery. And you obviously know about Assassin Scourge, yada yada yada. Shadowy Disguise, kind of one of the one things that makes this character a freaking Nightblade. Is your Shadowy Disguise is the obvious choice. And Resolving Vigor. Now, the way I recommend you heal when you're in a fight, let's just say, alright, you break CC, then you Vigor, Dodge Roll, Cloak, Rally. And you should be back up at full health every single time. Now, right before you come out of stealth, you want to Cloak again and charge a heavy attack, followed by a Poison Inject, and you should be right back in the fight. Thing about this setup is the high recovery and reduced stam ability cost really makes it a hard hitting, especially when you re-engage with a bow. That also hits them a little bit harder, which is a pretty nice note to have. And finally, the two ultimates I skipped over. On the front bar, it's going to be Incapacitating Strike. I don't recommend fearing somebody and using it immediately. I recommend while you're fighting and you just see an opening, you just see their defenses down, then just go ahead and slam it on them. For the back bar, we're actually going to run Flawless Dawnbreaker. The reason for that is, while slotted, your weapon damage is increased by 4%. On top of that, you're going to run a passive in the Fighters Guild called Slayer. Increases your weapon damage by 3% for each ability. Now, I'm going to show you what this looks like if you take it off. So, it's 3k unbuffed on the bow bar. Let me go to skills real quick. I'm going to throw a random ultimate in its place, which only seems to be... Okay, let's say we throw Incapacitating Strike in its place. I'm going to go back up to character. It takes a 200 damage toll. You're not going to use your ultimate on the back bar. You're just going to have that damage, so when you engage and re-engage, or when you initiate a gank, that's usually a good thing. It helps. It spikes your damage up by 7%, which is pretty useful, actually. Now let's talk about champion points. Obviously, as you may have noticed, I'm not a 690, so I'm going to give you just kind of a base of like where to go with this. I try now, mind you, if you are a 690, you're probably going to have about maybe 20 into physical, 50 into master at arms. You might have about 30 or 40 in the mighty. You might have about 30 in there. You might have maybe 20 into that. Precise strikes is actually really good. Increases the damage and healing of your critical strikes with stamina abilities by 6%. So what that means is when you deal critical damage, it's going to hit a 6% extra bonus. That's because I only have 15 in it. Master at Arms is what you want to throw the most in it, and I'm going to tell you why. Because unlike Mighty, which increases your physical, poison, disease damage, Master at Arms affects any single target abilities, and it turns them into direct damage. When you have this so high, because most people don't throw champion points into Ironclad. I recommend doing it, although I have not, but yeah, so Master at Arms, and make sure incapacitating strike, your surprise attack, and your ambush, they hit a whole lot harder when you put a lot into Master at Arms. And now if you're 690, you're probably going to throw about 30 into Blessed, and I'm not sure what that would look like if you probably would have like 10-15% healing, which is actually really good. You kind of need that, especially when you're using this as a fight blade versus a gank blade. Alright, here's a good one. Tumbling. We need a lot into tumbling. If you're 690, it's probably going to be more of a 30, and it'll look more like 15%. So, yeah, tumbling's pretty good. You dodge roll a lot, or if you run one of those Nightblades where you got a dodge roll cloak, especially because of that heal trick I told you. Vigor, dodge roll cloak, rally. Yeah, that'll help reduce the cost of that. I have the bulk of everything into here. I don't recommend going too much over 50, as the percentage tends to the percentage at which your champion points add tends to decrease with the more you throw into it. So tenacity, you're probably going to want to throw maybe 56, 57. It'll give you about a 13% bonus. Same with Mooncalf. Mooncalf maxes out at about 15%. Stam recovery, so not much more than 50. You can only throw 100 in max. Warlord's another good one you want to have at least 30 into, because when you, as a Nightblade, going against most of the builds, like especially when you're going against a DK, you kind of need Warlord, because they stun and they CC you for days. Alright, here's one of the sketchier trees, and I've done mine a little differently than most people would do theirs. I recommend throwing the bulk into resistant, the second bit of bulk into hardy and elemental defender. That increases your health, actually. These two, they will actually increase your health a little bit when you have champ points into them. Spell shield and medium armor focus. It's never a bad idea to have at least more resistance. And especially when you're running for crit resistance, you kind of need more crit resistance. So yeah, that's basically my Vivek PvP build. My Nightblade hasn't done me bad so far. Kind of enjoyed it. It's pretty tanky. It's got nice damage, nice stam recovery. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Love to hear your thoughts and any ideas you may have. Anyway, with that out of the way, Mr. McDirt, as always, signing off. Peace.